And there's the puppy dog, and let's get this started. Good morning, everybody. This is Ned over at My Philippine Dreams, and to the E to the D over at MPD, making his triumphant return to YouTube. Yes, I know you've all been missing me and sad and despondent and staying at home and watching old romantic comedies and eating ice cream, but not to fear. I have returned. I am back. Today is May 27th, 2019, and if somebody can let me know if this is actually working, that would be great. Super Chat is enabled. This is the first time I've actually done Super Chat during a live stream, and that's where you can give me some money. So if you feel like giving me some money, let's get into that. And I guess there's also, if you do a Super Chat, it shows up in the special chat screen and all that. So if this is working and somebody could say in chat that it's working, that would be great, because I'm not sure. I don't even know if I have, yeah, I got it enabled. All right, so let's hope this is working. Let's hope this is working. All right, so today we're going to be talking about puppies. We're going to be talking about people asking questions. We're going to be talking about the Spaghetti Fest we had yesterday, talking about Patreon, talking about consultations and discounts on that. And most importantly, and this is the whole idea of this, is we're going to be talking about the trip I took to the United States. And it seems like we're having a problem with the stream, and I'm not quite certain why. But, oh, it's working. Okay, Lek. Hey, Lek, thanks again. You were my first Super Chat. I actually did, for those who don't know, I did a gaming video a little while ago. It wasn't that, it didn't really resonate with the viewing public, and I got some criticism on that. And apologies for having the audacity to do a gaming video on my own YouTube channel. I'll do it on a different channel next time. But Lek was the first one to hit me up with some money on Super Chat, so much appreciated. Thank you very much. I actually didn't have contact information, so I went to your channel and left you a message. Before I get into anything else, one of the things I used to do here on these live streams and give stuff away free. And what I gave away free was my ebook, Chasing Your Philippine Dream, an Expat's Guide to the Philippines. What I usually do is ask a question, and I say the first 3 people to email me the correct answer at myphilippinedreams@gmail.com gets a free copy of the ebook. So let's do that. I actually don't have a question, but what I do have is, and if you're interested in the book, actually there's not that many people watching, so let's wait a little while for that. And before we get into anything further than that, let's talk about something that's really important, especially for those living in the Dumaguete City area, and that's food. I just found out a friend of ours, Andy, recommended this Szechuan restaurant. I guess he hadn't eaten there, but he says a Szechuan restaurant had opened in Dumaguete. Come to find out, they had opened back in January, and this was the first time I had heard about it. It's called Halang Halang Szechuan Restaurant, and Halang in Tagalog means spicy. It's Szechuan Chinese food, so it is spicy. You can talk to the chef and work with the staff there to adjust the level of heat. But right now, and again, I'm no expert, I'm not a foodie, I'm not a culinary, anything like that. But Halang Halang, in my humble opinion, is the best food in Dumaguete City right now. Go there, order the poached chicken, the poached ginger chicken, and it's only like 200 pesos or something. You're not gonna, it's amazing. It just blows your mind. If you like real Chinese food, I used to go to Chinatown all the time when I was living in Boston. We used to go every weekend with I had some Asian friends, and they used to order, we used to do it family style and everything. It's fantastic, it's so good. So this isn't like poo-poo platters and stuff. It's not cheap Chinese food. This is like real Chinese food, and it's fantastic. Again, that's Halang Halang Szechuan Restaurant, and it's down on one of the roads off the boulevard. Look it up on Facebook. Maybe they're on Facebook. I actually want to do a video review over there because it's that good. And truth be told, what's going to happen is he's either going to have to decrease the portions or he's going to have to increase the costs, because right now it looks like, I don't know how he's making a profit because the portions are huge. The first time we went there, we had 2 entrees and it was 350 pesos for the 2 of us. That's like $7. Then last night we went there for the poached ginger chicken, and we had something else, spicy noodle dish, and that cost like 500 pesos. So I don't know how he's making a profit. Okay. Yeah, Mr. C, you didn't get it. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to be talking about my trip to the U.S. in just a little bit. But first, I wanted to just go through some things. Puppies. We still have 3 puppies. Tiny, Bridget, and Twinkle are still available for adoption. They're 100% pure Pinoy Ascal, Assong Calier street dogs. They are Angel's babies. They're basically weaned now. They're eating solid food. So if anybody's interested, just send me an email at myphilippinedreams@gmail.com. And questions. I get a lot of questions through my Facebook. I get a lot of questions on email, and I get a lot of questions a lot of times through my YouTube channel. If you have questions, and they're basic questions like how do I do what you guys are doing, I'm really interested in that. How much does a rental cost? How much is the cost of living? Is the internet decent? Get my book. There's a link down in the video description box of this video. My book is only $10.99, I believe. It's got 100% money back guarantee. I put a lot of time, sweat, blood, energy, tears into that book. The 2 other authors actually have lived here. One of them's lived here like 19 years now. He just had his anniversary, and it's a big work, and I think it's pretty good. I've never had anybody request their money back because the book sucked. So check that out down in the book. Spaghetti Fest. Yesterday we did a Spaghetti Fest. Bud Brown participated once again. He's the backbone of this organization. We couldn't do it. I wanted to do one before I left back in March because I try to do one every 2 months. But Bud was recovering from that rabies vaccination that he got, and he had an allergic reaction to, so we weren't able to do it in March. So finally, yesterday we were able to do it. We bought 200 meals at MacDo, spaghetti meals, and we passed those out down to the kids in Tinago. Thank you to Chi-Chi, and thank you to Leia for organizing that once again. They go and they get the kids all organized. They get them all lined up. And so instead of having to deal with a mob of people wanting spaghetti, it's a nice orderly line, and everything's really nice. And I got some video of that because we got to prove where the money's going to, so I'll try to put that up tomorrow. I also had to bribe my volunteers, Junjun, Nikki, Nano, Badai, Yui, all of them. Everybody was there, and they did all the work because, as we all know, foreigners are not allowed to work or do even volunteer work in the Philippines when they're on a tourist visa. For me, that should be changing in the near future because I'm going for a permanent residency. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So yeah, that was a good time. I always enjoy the Spaghetti Fest, and even though it's summertime and it was really hot and I was sweating my ears off, it was a great time. I really enjoyed that. And let me talk about where the money for the Spaghetti Fest come from. I have a Patreon channel, and basically at this point I get about $105 a month on my Patreon. And thanks again to all my Patreons. And I don't use that money for myself. I actually invest that money into the Spaghetti Fests. So every 2 months we get about $210 from Patreon, and I put those into the Spaghetti Fests. Yesterday's Spaghetti Fest cost 12,500 pesos, which comes out to about $243. That's for the 200 mac spaghetti meals and the ice creams for all the workers, and had to feed the workers and all that stuff. So I actually take a loss on it. If you're interested in joining the Patreon and making these projects a little bit bigger, and again, I'm not asking for money specifically for any charity program because I can't do that. That's not allowed, and that's a violation of my tourist visa. But that's where the money goes. I actually talked about that with my Patreons before. I do Patreon videos, and if you want to join my Patreon, you can do that. Also, I do consultations. If you're interested, if you have questions, you want to talk to me personally on Skype or whatever, about any of your particular situation and what your hopes and dreams are in respect to living outside of your home nation, you can do that. It's about $25 a month for that. You can contact me, myphilippinedreams@gmail.com, and do that. If you're a Patreon member, it's only $10 to do that, the consultation. So that's a pretty substantial. And I'm not doing it for the money because, $10 or $25 an hour isn't a whole lot of money, but, there's got to be some compensation for the work put in. All right, I've been babbling on. Johnny Karate says you should contact Bumma. He needs a place to stay there, Ned. I don't know who Bumma is. He can move in with the dogs. It's been 97 degrees in North Carolina for 4 days. Yeah, man, it's been... when I first came back, I got back here about May 12th. I left on the 9th. For some reason, I got back here on the 12th. It was so hot, I basically just stayed inside all day in the air conditioning. All day, all night. It's like when they have these heat waves here, when it's really bad, it feels like you're in the United States in Boston and there's a nor'easter coming in and you're basically stuck inside all the time. It was nasty. Oh, 1DIR. Wonder just hit me up with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much, sir. That's the second super chat I've gotten, I think. And if I'm missing anybody, I apologize. All right. So I guess you get some special thing. Let's talk about the U.S. trip. I go back to the United States of America every year. I am American, although at this point I've been telling people I'm Canadian. It's a joke, people. Don't get all offended and start getting down the comment section and getting all bent out of shape. Oh, you should be more patriotic. You're very fortunate. I know that. I have a lot of gratitude and I have a lot of appreciation for having the biological roll of the dice land me as it did in the United States of America, especially after living outside of almost 6 years now outside of America. So I go back to the United States every year. I stay with family because I'm cheap and I don't want to pay for B&Bs or anything like that. And I usually stay for about 29 days, and there's a reason for that. It has to do with taxes, if you know what I mean. And it's always a good time. And it's really great to be able to take a break and just recharge the batteries and engage in something different. As you all know, or if you follow my channel, this year I went with China Eastern Airlines. I took China Eastern Airlines from the Philippines to China, and then United from China to the United States. If you follow my channel, you know that the first trip, my egress from my exit from the Philippines didn't go all that well. And basically what happened was there was smog in Shanghai. We sat on the tarmac for 4 hours before we take off. Everybody missed their flight. Nobody spoke English in China. It was a freaking shit show. Luckily, it all worked out, and eventually we got rescheduled, and it worked out. On the way back, it was perfectly fine. Actually, going to Shanghai was actually a really pleasurable experience. At one point, they were going through one of my luggages because there was some contraband or something they thought was a bomb. It was actually a whole bunch of lithium-ion batteries for my laptops. And it turned into like a Keystone Cop. She was like pulling stuff out, and she was dropping it. She was like, whoops, she was picking it up, she was putting it back. The other one was dropping stuff. It was kind of crazy. And I also lost my debit card and my Massachusetts driver's license in San Francisco, but we'll save that for another time. All right, but let's get back to America. Coming back to America, it's great to land in the United States. The first thing I do, of course, is I go to a Dunkin' Donuts and I get a coffee with real cream, because that's one thing you really can't get here in the Philippines at the Dunkin' Donuts. I try to get a one of those pumpkin spice ones, but this time they didn't have it. And Jordan McMillan, let's digress. Love China Eastern. Shanghai is amazing. Yeah, I had a great experience with China Eastern on the way back. And it wasn't their fault. It wasn't the plane's fault or the staff's fault. They just had smog and they couldn't land any planes. So they told all the planes in the surrounding countries to not take off because they couldn't. They wanted to be able to land. And I got sidetracked. But I love going back to the United States. I love seeing my family. It reminds me of a lot of things. It makes me appreciate and be grateful for a lot more things. And one of the things I like to do, okay, I had the coffee, and then I finally get to the house. Thank you, Mr. C, $4.99. All right. Now, how does this work? Mr. C says, try Cathay to United States, but not to Manila. All right. But most of all is seeing my family. My folks are older now. They're kind of in their winter years, and they are the sweetest, nicest people in the world, and I was so lucky to have been adopted by them. And we'll get into my adoption in a little bit. Everybody knows I'm adopted at this point. I was adopted as a baby, so I don't know any better than just my parents. But I was very fortunate, and I'm also very fortunate to be able to go back every year and spend time with them to remind me of how fortunate and how lucky and how grateful I should be to have been adopted by them. And they're wonderful people. And it's great seeing them, even though if there are incidences of driving Miss crazy every once in a while. One thing I really like about going to visit my family is I can make my mother laugh. And I've always had that gift. And I still do, it seems. And the driving Miss crazy was one of those references. So it's good to see them. And I love you, Mom and Dad. Thank you for everything. It's also nice to be able to go for morning walks. In the United States, I go for morning walks every morning because, as you know, when you're jet lagged, you're getting up early. And so it's nice to go for a walk. And the clean air Everything's orderly. There's no trash. There's no scooters running on the sidewalks. It's just peaceful. It's serene, and the air is so clean and so crisp because it's dry. There's very little humidity. There was very little humidity in Florida when I was there. And it's really nice. Also nice to be able to go out and eat. One of my favorites is Longhorn Steakhouse. The steaks there are really good. That's okay, Mr. C. That's fine. Thank you for the $4.99. Appreciate it. Longhorn Steakhouse. That's the only time I eat steak. That's the only time I really eat meat, beef. Every year is back in the United States. We went there twice to Longhorn Steakhouse, and it's fantastic. It's delicious. It's really good. Also, NYPD, New York Police Department Pizza. I think it's a chain, and ate there quite a few times. And I only gained 5 pounds this year, and that was good. And again, when going back from Shanghai to the United States, there was no issues. And the great thing about that is when you get those China Eastern flights, they're about half the cost of Cathay Pacific, half the cost of Korean Airlines, half the cost of any of the major carriers that you're associated with. Usually, for a round trip to Florida, I'm looking at $1,500 to $1,600 for a round trip on Korean Airlines or something like that. China Eastern was only $800. And that's a significant savings. That's half price. And I don't mind if it's uncomfortable in planes, because you're going to be uncomfortable no matter what, unless you're in first class. And I've even flown first class. I came to Manila, Philippines. I had Buddy Pass. He worked for Delta. And I flew first class. And it was still uncomfortable. So you're going to be uncomfortable no matter what. So you might as well save the money in China Eastern. Yeah. Although I think Rike, Life Beyond the Sea, he had issues too. Before I forget, everybody should go over to Bud Brown's new YouTube channel. I think it's called Bud Brown Live, and make sure you're subscribed to that. I was talking to him yesterday. He's got another channel that he created that is monetized, so make sure you're going over there, checking it out, and getting the views. Make sure you view his videos so he can get monetized. So, yeah, it was really great to be in the U.S. I did a lot of shopping. I bought a lot of stuff. I sent a Balikbayan box this year. Give me a break, Chi. And it should be getting here in a month or two. I think I sent it UMAC, and usually it takes about 2.5 months to get here. So I'm looking forward to that because I got a bunch of stuff in there. Oh yeah, and as for the trivia question, first 3 correct people that can correctly identify, let me get my camera up, make sure I got it, what this is. Okay, let's take a look at this. Yeah. First 3 people that can correctly identify what this bag is full of and send it to myphilippinedreams@gmail.com. Get a free copy of my book, Chasing Your Philippine Dream, An Expat's Guide to the Philippines. Those have kind of taken off in the U.S. I've been eating those things for a long time. I love them. They are delicious. They're low calorie. They're spicy as heck. They're just fantastic. I bought 3 5-pound bags. I got 2 of them in my Balikbayan box, and I got 1 that I brought with me that is almost gone. So first 3 correct answers on that. Get a copy of my book. Let's go to the comments. There is a reason why they are half price. Yeah, I mean, other people have had problems with them. But again, even if you get delayed or if it gets canceled or whatever, all you got to do, and it's inconvenient and it's time consuming and it's exhausting. You get in line and you wait to talk to your connecting flight, whether it's United or American, whatever, and they reschedule you. And a lot of times when China Eastern, like they offered us to stay overnight for people that had that missed their flights and stuff. And they put you up in the hotel right across so you don't even leave the grounds of the airport so you don't violate your visa, your 24-hour visa that you get. But yeah, if I can save $800, people, I will save $800. If I got to sit 4 hours on a tarmac and miss the connecting flight, I'll do that. All right, because that's what, $200 an hour? Yeah, pay me $200 an hour to sit on a tarmac for 4 hours, and I'll do it. Yeah, sure. Yes, Mike and Mauricio, you are correct. Yes, Mr. C, you are correct. Yeah, these are fantastic. These are my favorite snacks in the whole wide world, man. And you can just eat them and eat them and eat them because peas basically don't have that many calories. Yeah, fantastic. Also, this time in the United States, I'm adopted, so I've never known my medical history, and doctors were always asking about medical history. So I finally decided to do this 23andMe DNA testing. It's been FDA approved for certain medical conditions to see if you're susceptible or likely to develop these conditions. So I spit in the tube, I sent it off, and about 2 weeks later I got my online results. And come to find out, I am half British, I am 50% British, and I am 50% German. In the Britain area, my family came over during the 1820s, and they were from the London area. And my German family came over 1840s? No, earlier than that. Anyways, and they're from southwest Germany, the Baden, B-A-D-E-N area. I also found out that I am 4.1% Neanderthal. I actually have more Neanderthal. I'm a nape man. I'm a nape man. I'm a nape man. I got more DNA, Neanderthal DNA, than 90% of the human population, which explains a lot. Neanderthals were known for their hairless backs. A lot of times people think Neanderthals were like bestial. They were barrel chested. They were shorter than average. I'm 5'9.5", so I guess I'm a taller Neanderthal. But they have like robust builds, thick joints, and they have actually strong immune systems. But they were also susceptible to certain things, and two of them are early diabetes and macular degeneration. So the eyes, got to make sure I'm protecting my eyes, and I got to watch what I'm eating, because I guess those are the two things I am genetically predisposed to develop, is macular degeneration and diabetes. And I don't want either one of those. So I got my UV protection sunglasses. I'm doing all that and taking it easy. Mr. C, thank you. Yeah. When I told people that I was Neanderthal, they weren't surprised. As a matter of fact, one specifically said, that explains a lot. Philippines Expat says, hello, Ned. You talked to me, brother. We talked by email. The guy that sold his Toyota Wigo. Oh, yeah. How you doing? Hit me up when you do the spaghetti feed. I will match what you donate. That's okay. I can't specifically say this money is for charity or whatever, because that's a violation of something. I don't know what it's a violation of. I'm sure people are hitting the report button already. But I just want you guys to know that the money I get from the Patreon, specifically the Patreon, goes into the Spaghetti Fest. And every time I do a Spaghetti Fest, I actually lose money. Like this costs $243. I got $205 through Patreon. You do the math. So I lose out in a little bit. But again, it's just me, and Bud's always involved. Bud always gets involved in these. We use the Molly Mobile, and it was just good to see him, because I hadn't seen him since the debacle of getting bit by his own dog and having to get the rabies vaccine and all that. Yeah. Oh, you're adopted also. Airborne. I gotta get a copy of my TD214. Okay, yeah, let's get through this. I'm sorry, I'm babbling on. My mango tree is great, Edith. Matter of fact, I got 4 or 5 mangoes up there that I'm going to have to get. My Uyab, her family made this really long stick to get the mangoes down, and I need that because I've been throwing stuff at it, but I can't get them. Also, and this was, oh man, I'll tell you, it's really weird. If you're adopted and you don't know your DNA ancestry, getting this 23andMe, and it was like $200. It's kind of expensive. But when you go through all the things that you like, cilantro, bitter foods, it basically shows how nature versus nurture, and how strong it is. Because I was going through it and I'm like, yep, that's me. Also, Neanderthals are also known for 2 other things. They're known to have difficulty quitting nicotine, even though they were gone like 40,000 years ago, and there wasn't nicotine. They don't think they have a hard time quitting nicotine, quitting cigarettes, and they also have a hard time dealing with hot, humid environments because we have a thicker skin, I guess, and I do have thick skin. So that explains a lot why I've been struggling with this nicotine addiction for a long time. And I'm not going to let that enable me and be like, oh, I should just start smoking again because I'm a Neanderthal and I'm just going to, relapse anyways. Because I haven't smoked since going to the United States. It's been It's been a while. 7 weeks. 7 weeks without cigarettes. I used the vaping, and I used the patch, and that worked really well. I'm down to the 7 milligram patch right now. I'm on it for another 4 or 5 days. So that was 23andMe. And again, if you're adopted, you don't know your medical history. There's like 27 diseases that they can see if you're genetically predisposed towards, and that's good to have. So I gained 5 pounds, which isn't bad. Last year I think I gained 10 pounds in the U.S., so 5 pounds isn't bad. I'm not complaining. A couple interesting things that happened while I was in the United States. First one was at Walgreens. Walgreens is a pharmacy in the United States, and I was waiting to pick up some prescriptions. And there was a bit of a line. There was like 3 or 4 people. Not a big deal. It's moving along. All the staff behind the counter are bouncing around, in the super efficient way that happens in America. They're getting stuff done fast. And this guy's just like going from foot to foot, foot to foot, foot to foot. And he says, there's always a line here. There's always a line. He says it to me. And I just turned to him, looked him in the eye, and I said, first world problems. He kind of gave me the fisheye, kind of, had a strange reaction to that. But I guess I would too if I tried to start a conversation with somebody complaining about a line and they turned around and said, first world problems. But again, it's that appreciation for things that you have in the first world when you go back there and visit after living in places that, maybe not everybody can get access to pharmacies or medicines or, stuff like that. They don't have medical insurance, that situation. I am a Neanderthal, Robert Griffin. There is such a thing as Neanderthal. I believe that. Oh, A Company, 2nd of the 3rd, 325. Yeah, Jerry Terry, the vaping's good. It works. You're still sucking crazy shit into your lungs, but I think it's less damaging than, nicotine and all the stuff that's in cigarettes. A lot of the vape juice that you get is, made overseas in China and shit, so you never know what you're getting in it. And I also don't vape that much. I just do it every now and then. It's not a big deal. So that was the first world problems guy at Walgreens. And again, being able to just go in, having health insurance, having coverage, and, the efficiency in getting things done. And then people complain about it. It's just weird. There's a lot of people complaining about stuff in the United States. And it's just like simple day-to-day stuff like going to stores and having to wait in lines. Ugh. Also, I met this older Filipina at the gym. Now that I live in the Philippines, I know what Filipinos look like, because I never knew before moving here. And I saw this, and I said, she looks Filipina. So I went up and I said, excuse me, I can ask you a really rude question? She's like, what's that? I'm like, are you Filipina? She's like, yes, I am Filipina. I've been in the United States for 15 years. And we started talking a little bit. This is at the gym. And she said she had worked as a lawyer for like 10 years in Makati. And she worked on copyright laws, international copyright laws. And that should have been a warning flag right there. And since she's moving to the United States, I think she was married to a foreigner, American. She said that she got her nurse's license and now she's an RN. So it's like, wow, this woman is pretty, she's an RN and she's a copyright lawyer. That's pretty impressive. And then she took off on a tangent when I told her where I lived, and she says, oh, you know that Dumaguete is floating, right? And that there's a danger that it could sink. And I didn't quite know how to respond to that. And I was pretty sure that Dumaguete wasn't floating, and that's probably not in danger of sinking. And I asked her to clarify. I'm like, are you sure? She says, yes, it's its own little island, but there's no sea mountain connecting it. So it's basically just floating by itself. And I really didn't want to get into the physics of that, so I was just like, oh, okay. All right, and yeah. And what's cool about Florida is there's a lot of Filipinos in Florida. A lot of Filipinos in Florida. Pharmacies, hospitals, medical clinics, nurses, doctors, they're all over the place. They're everywhere. They're ubiquitous. All over the place. So what I do is when I go by, I usually say something in Tagalog or Bisaya, and they get the little startled response, and I just, yeah. Okay, so that's that. Now the bad news. Being in America was kind of stressful, and specifically it was stressful because my family likes to watch the news every night. That's one of the things that they do. My mom actually likes to watch news all day, and So that's like a family thing. Last year, every evening, would sit down and watch the news at like 5, and then watch world news. But there was so much crazy stuff going on this year that I only made it about a week of doing that, and I just couldn't watch the news anymore. It's just so depressing. It's debilitating. It's saddening. Is saddening a word? Yeah, it's just a really bad scene, and it was hurting me spiritually. To me, spirituality is connecting to something greater than yourself, and that connection that I have to the United States of America has been strained by just the craziness. I mean, it was like every day there was a shooting, there was a mass shooting, or there was some girl going to shoot up a school. It was like every freaking day this was happening when I first got back to the United States. And then with all the other crap that's been going on, it's like a war between fact and fiction. It's a war between truth and lies. It's social media spreading all kinds of nonsense and bullshit and lies. And that's another thing. I've been having problems getting motivated to do YouTube stuff because I've just become disillusioned, I guess is the correct word, with a lot of the stuff that's going on in social media right now. There's so much bullshit being passed around. I mean, when you got these videos of guys, you know, the gold digger videos where the guy asks a girl out and she says no, and then he jumps into a Lamborghini and she runs over and says, oh, okay. All that stuff's fake, and people are feeding into it thinking it's real. There's all these street fight videos and confrontation videos and people put in danger videos and mutant babies needing stuff, and it's a freaking shit show. And I don't know what Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and all these our agencies are going to do about it, but this bullshit is being used to influence opinion, and it's being used to destabilize countries and nations. If you really want to go down a rabbit hole again someday, go over to Wikipedia, check out the Russian program called Fancy Bear. U.S. intelligence has labeled it Fancy Bear. It's been in operation for about 9 years. It started when they were targeting the Ukraine, and now they're targeting basically everybody. They actually have entire buildings in St. Petersburg and Leningrad dedicated to sway public opinion and destabilize other countries. And it's pretty scary. Philippine Expat says, YouTube is full of gold diggers and fake people. Even worse here in the Philippines. There's only a couple of vloggers here that are real. Yeah, well, I mean, as for myself, I'm only showing you what I want you to see. So, I mean, what's real and what's not. You know, I'm not going to show you the dark, dirty side of me and all that. I'm not going to show you what my worst. I only reserve that for the people closest to me. The news is such BS. He agrees with me. Agree with the fake videos. The earth is flat. Yeah. Yeah, okay. You know, Vincent, thank you. Vincent says, my asawa is Filipina. She smiles all the time. I'm happy as a lark. Yeah. Keep it simple. Thank you. Rayman says, I don't watch news channels anymore. I just watch local news in the morning. Too much fake news and biased news on these dedicated news channels. Yeah, but we've also lost objectivity, and we've also lost rational, quantitative reality somewhere along the way. There are facts out there, and that's the problem that's going around, is people are no longer being able to agree on the facts because of these tribes that they have joined. And there's a culture war going on in the United States of America. And you guys know what I'm talking about, and it's not a pretty sight. It's incredibly divisive. There's actually people openly wearing political party T-shirts around. This was something that I had never seen before. And it's not like someone being proud of their candidate or whoever they're sided with. It's making it's disparaging T-shirts about the opposite political party. And I'd never seen that, and both sides are doing that. I'd never seen it. So people are like wearing their colors now. They're wearing their colors out into public, and they're bringing their opinion, since like they can't share it like your crazy uncle sharing his crazy posts with you on Facebook. They're just dragging it out there. Jean-Pierre Dijon, please play your guitar. I haven't played my guitar since I came back to the Philippines. I'll tell you why, because it's too freaking hot, man. It's too hot to do anything. God, it's so hot here. And right now I have the air conditioning off. Okay. Finally, oh my God, I've been babbling for 35 minutes. Finally, I'm now doing the military courtesy visa. I started the process. I actually was able to track down a PRA agent. This guy is paid by the Philippines Retirement Authority to assist foreigners with their SRRVs. There's all different types of SRRVs. These are special retirement visas. The military courtesy is pretty great. You got to be honorably discharged from the military. You got to be 50 years of age, and you got to put in $1,500 to a bank account, and just it sits in there for whatever reason, and it costs about $1,400 to do the application and processing and all that stuff. Basically, when you're done, the process takes about 45 days. The agent tells me. And once it's done, you're a permanent resident of the Philippines. You can work. You don't have to go to BI all the time. You don't have to renew your visa. The visa costs about $420 a year. When you factor in the ACR card and you factor in the renewals and stuff, it's about 420 USD a year. So I might as well get it, and that's what I'm doing. I did my when I was in the United States, I did my U.S. criminal history there. And I got that paperwork, and I just did the NBI. I went down and got the fingerprints there, done there. And it's going to be about 2 to 3 weeks before that comes back. And this week I got to make the deposits for the $1,500 and pay the $1,400 application fee. And hopefully everything will go well, and then I'll be a permanent resident, and they'll stamp that on my passport, and I don't have to worry about all that stuff. Jim asks, Ned, what is the cost to run an air conditioner in the Philippines? I swear by these little I have small rooms, in case you can see. I got Filipino-sized bedrooms. And I got the little Carrier Optimus 0.5 horsepower. I'm running it 24 hours a day, basically, this month. April and May, I run it 24 hours a day. And it comes out to about $60 US a month. And I also got computers going. I got PlayStation. I got 50-inch TVs all over the place. So there's other stuff, refrigerators, all that. So it's not that expensive. Now, if you have multiple air conditioners going at the same time, if you got a family and stuff, it's going to be more expensive. But I only have one air conditioner going at a time. Philippines Expat Net, I have 13 As. I'm married. Yeah, I love the visa. That's also an option because I'm thinking about the same thing. And it's also cheaper. And you don't have to put the $1,500 deposit in a bank that you can't touch unless you buy a condo. And who in the right mind is going to buy a condo here? Apologies for any foreigners sitting in condos right now. Yeah. Dun, dun. Good morning, Ned. Do you know any other way of buying something from the U.S. without using credit cards? Problem is I don't have any, and I want to buy something online. Could you help me? Yeah. I mean, if you got to have PayPal, you got to have that stuff lined up. And I'm gonna tell you a story. This is kind of embarrassing. This is not a video that I would have made. This is not one of my finer moments. But returning to the Philippines, I landed in San Francisco, and promptly lost my debit card and my U.S. driver's license. It has since been found. I contacted the lost and found, and it's been sent to my family. So I was flying without any money. Basically, I had like $3 $3 US and a bunch of 2,000 Philippine pesos. So I knew that I wasn't going to be able to buy waters. I wasn't going to be able to buy food because I didn't have money. And so what I did was, because the waters are expensive in the airport, I didn't have enough cash, US cash, to get a freaking water. So I hung around, I sat down, and I'm freaking out because I lost it, and I was looking for it, but I couldn't find it. So I waited till somebody finished their water and was going to throw it away. And the first one was a guy, and I'm like, I don't want a guy's bottle. Second one was a woman. I'm like, there you go. I said, excuse me, ma'am. And she was like, yeah. She's like, I don't have any money, and I got to get a water bottle. Is it okay if I have that? And she was like, sure, here you go. And if you see me, what I wear when I'm traveling, I wear shorts, cargo shorts, and a black thermal top and a hat and stuff. I look like a bandit. She probably thought, who let this clown pass security? But I got my water bottle, and I made it all the way all the way to the Philippines with just that water bottle, refilling it at all the free water places in Shanghai and all that. But you got to have a water bottle, man. And I had lost mine. I had lost my debit card and my driver's license. Sad. Yeah, my sad. Yeah, David Henson says condo in an earthquake-prone country. I don't think so. And if you see, like in Cebu, they got some real narrow condos. They're very long and they're very narrow. And it's basically, when you look at them from the side, it's like this. And if there's ever and there's going to be a bad shaker. I mean, this area is due. They haven't had a bad one since, I think, the early 1970s. That's going to be scary. And some places are built to be earthquake resistant. Other places are not. I don't know why. Okay. Yes, no deposit required. The 13A is awesome. It's like a green card in America. I can work if I want. And you have more rights here. No BA for 5 years. Then it's only to renew your ACR card. Yeah, with the 13A, you only got to renew the ACR card, which is like $80 US, $85 US, every 5 years. For us tourists, we have to do that every year. You got to get a new ACR card every year. I've been on almost 6 years. I've been here as a tourist. All right. Hoscat, hey, thank you for the videos. Ned, wanted to ask your opinion. What's the best way to first start off moving there? 9A visa or SRV? First, just come here as a tourist. Stay here for months as a tourist. Then stay for more months as a tourist. And then decide if it's something that you want to do permanently. Because the vast majority of foreigners don't stay in the Philippines. They leave for one reason or another. Or they go to travel in other countries. Maybe they're going to come back at some point in the future. But a lot of them just can't deal with some of the stuff that goes on here, that occurs here or doesn't occur here. A lot of them can't live without Walmart, like me. So you got to make sure that you're actually going to stay before you get any of these SRRVs. I think a lot of the SRVs are not a good deal right now. The ones where you have to put down $15,000, $20,000. I don't think those are the best way to go right now. If you're gonna stay and you're gonna get married, you can do like Philippines Expat did, and get your 13A, which is marriage visa, which is a fairly painless process, and you basically become a permanent resident based on that, and you can work but when you work, and when I say work, you can't just like start going to local IBM Philippines. You have to. It has to be a thing where you show the employer has to show that they can't get any other Filipino to do that job. Jim says $60 US a month for electricity is expensive for the Philippines, but to survive and not get heat stroke, it's worth every penny, I guess. Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen, and again, maybe it's because I'm Neanderthal, I don't deal with the heat well. If I am not comfortable, I am miserable. So I'd rather pay more money to be comfortable than to pay less money and be cheap and be uncomfortable. There's no way I want, like right now, I'm sweating, I'm feeling slimy because the air conditioning's off, it's hot, and it's not cool. And $60 a month for electricity ain't that bad. I know guys here that have families and they got, multiple air conditioners going all night that are paying like $120, $150 a month. So that's cheap. That's cheap. All right, we've got 128 people watching. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. I know these live streams aren't everybody's cup of tea. The news is trash these days. Yeah. It's not. When they're quoting people and they're talking about objective truths and stuff, that's not fake news. And that's what Americans really need to do. I mean, we're at a crisis. We're at an existential crisis as America. I mean, America was based, the ideals as an American, the American ideals that I remember, that I saw, was, yeah, we're tough, yeah, we got a nasty military, yeah, we go around blowing up people, and yeah, we've been at continual war for like 90% of our existence, but it's also a place of empathy and compassion and care and concern where people try to help people. And this thing about hatred and fear and exclusion, it's not good. And all this stuff that gets tossed around to incite people further to the extreme, whether it be left or right, progressive or conservative, it's not healthy. It's not healthy. And a lot of it's coming through social media. Mark Zuckerberg is a piece of human excrement. He really is. Google, with their inability to control these algorithms to promote certain videos, making crazy shit viral, they got a responsibility, and they're not stepping up, and they're not doing jack shit about it. And it doesn't take much. Oh, the Philippines, my God. And every country is liable, is vulnerable to this stuff. The Philippines right now is convinced that Steph Curry, from Golden State, Steph Curry can do no wrong. He's like the nicest guy in the world. Said about the Philippines, he said the Philippine people are stupid because they voted for a murdering president. And this is supposed to come from a CNN interview. He never said that. That never occurred. Yet it's being passed around Filipino Facebook from account to account to account to account. They're saying he should be blacklisted. He should not be allowed to play ever in the Philippines. People are saying, I'm not going to, follow Golden State or be a Golden State fan anymore. It's ridiculous. And Steph Curry never said that. People aren't fact-checking. And then you have the people that won't even believe the fact-checking. They won't believe PolitiFact. They won't believe Snopes. They won't believe Truth or Fiction. Even when there's citations to the original source articles showing that something's bogus or something's fake, they won't believe it. And that's where the problem is. Yeah, social media. Okay, Uni, and this is an important point. Expat with German DNA murdered outside Gigi's. Philippine videos coming soon. Yeah, his name was Martin, and he wasn't murdered. I passed on bad information on my Facebook page saying that he was murdered because by that point, there was just so much stuff coming in on people that had been shot and killed and stuff. I was like, oh, there's another one. So I assumed he was dead, but he's not dead. He survived. There's all kinds of cheesemas going on around that situation and what happened there. I'm not going to get involved, but I'll tell you what. I was thinking about this. If someone shoots me, the guy got shot in the lower back. If someone shoots me, I'm leaving. I love Dumaguete and everything, but I ain't hanging around. Because obviously, someone's got beef with me. And they're trying to kill me. And I like living. I'm not a coward. Except with, spiders and syringes. But I like life. I like life. So, my media from my union job is lifetime. They cover me here. Oh, he's got medical from your union job. They covered you here. That's sweet. Nice. Yeah, somebody said, love the MacArthur thumbnail. MacArthur called the Philippines his home, although he is buried at West Point, New York. Yeah, he had a mistress here. He loved the Philippines. Oh, one last story. I got picked up by a limousine at the airport. It's the transportation vans, and the guy was driving. I was the only one in the van, so I was sitting in the front. He blasts through one of those toll booths, the ones with the automatic where they just scan your little chip or whatever. He blew through it, and I'm like, wow, this guy's driving fast. Because I'm not used to cars going fast. I'm used to going 40 kilometers an hour in the Philippines. That's it. And he blasts through this thing. State police, woo, pull him over, and he's freaking out because he's a commercial driver. This is his livelihood and everything. So the cop comes up, and he's like, wait, why are we going so fast, this, that? And he's talking and talking. And then I said, actually, officer, I think it was my fault because I was distracting him about some stories about the Philippines. And the cop in the state, he goes, you were in the Philippines? I'm like, oh, yeah, I've lived there for 5 years. He's like, oh, I was in the Navy, and I was stationed there for a year and a half. And make a long story short, he gave the guy a warning. He gave the driver a warning. So I distracted him. I saved him. And the driver was actually like, hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, those military guys. Moto Kenny, what % of Americans come there and decide it's not for them? I'd say the majority. Yeah, absolutely the majority. Yep. Because I go to the McDonald's, because that's where the foreigners congregate. And the guys that were here back in 2013 when I arrived, they're long gone. And again, they're gone for one reason or another. But, you know, they were also the guys that were sitting there griping and complaining about a lot of the things here, which is what we do as foreigners. When foreigners get together, it's like, it's our commonality. It's what we do together. We bond through complaints. And it's just our way, I think, of working through shit. And a lot of it's humor-based, you know, looking at things. But a lot of people just can't take it. And I've always said it takes a special kind of person to live here very long term, you know? And a lot of times, like when you hear about expatriates sometimes in Southeast Asia, you'll hear some pretty bad things about them. And yeah, I kind of agree with that. We're not the cream of the crop. And I am including that. I am including myself in that. We're not the cream of the crop. We're not the best and the brightest. We're not the sweetest and the most savvy. Some crazy shit happens. Yeah, Byron Watts says, if you're not happy in the USA, you're probably even more unhappy in the Philippines. That is absolutely true. Yep. No matter where you go, there you are. And if you got issues and you're unhappy in the United States, away from when you're isolated from your support group, from your friends and your family, when you're surrounded by people but you have no connection to them, you don't know how things work, the pollution, the trash, the garbage, the chaos, the inefficiency, it's just mind-blowing. All right, I'm going to mention this one more time because I just had a flashback of that poached chicken with ginger last night. If you live in Dumaguete City, make sure you go down to Halang, H-A-L-A-N-G, H-A-L-A-N-G. It means spicy in Tagalog, the Filipino language. And this is by far the best food in Dumaguete right now, in my humble opinion. It's a Chinese Szechuan restaurant. It's freaking fantastic. And what's cool, when you're in there, you know they have those special woks. The Chinese use those woks where it's like a pedal and they step on the pedal and it boosts up the heat. It sounds like a turbocharger. No, it's not. Like, it sounds like a freaking afterburner. They got that in there. So you're sitting there eating. And the great thing about Chinese food, real Chinese food, it only takes about 4 minutes to make because they got everything prepped. They just throw it in there. Done. So go check it out and tell them Ned sent you. Matter of fact, we've been there the last 2 nights. All right, I'm going to leave you with this. And some of you might not be happy with this, but, you know, that's just the way it goes. As Kurt Vonnegut, who passed away, I believe, Kurt Vonnegut passed away in 2007. He wrote Slaughterhouse-Five. He probably should have got a Pulitzer Prize, but I guess he didn't. Kurt Vonnegut is a great author. He wrote a bunch of books. His most famous one is Slaughterhouse-Five. He passed away back in 2007, and he said this. And he said this back in 2005. He also served in the military during the Second World War. He was a prisoner of war in Germany, in Dresden, when the city was firebombed by German and American forces. And I believe 135,000 German civilians died in one night in the Dresden firebombing. That was conducted by a mix of American and British bombers. And in 2005, he wrote a book called A Man Without a Country. A Man Without a Country, imagine that. He wrote a book called, and it was a collection of essays. And in that book, he said, I myself feel that our country, for whose constitution I fought in a just war, might as well have been invaded by Martians and body snatchers. Sometimes I wish it had been. What has happened, though, is that it has been taken over by means of the sleaziest low-comedy Keystone Cop-style coup d'etat imaginable. And those now in charge of the federal government are upper-crust C students who know no history or geography, plus not-so-closeted white supremacists, a.k.a. Christians, and plus, most frighteningly, psychopathic personalities. They are so decisive. They are going to do something every fucking day, and they are not afraid. Unlike normal people, they are never filled with doubts, for the simple reason that they don't give a fuck what happens next. Simply can't. Do this, do that, mobilize the reserves, privatize the public schools, attack Iraq, cut health care, tap everyone's telephone, cut taxes on the rich, build $1 trillion missile shield, fuck habeas corpus in the Sierra Club, and in these times, and kiss my ass. That was Kurt Vonnegut back in 2005. God bless him. That's from his book, A Man Without a Country. And if you haven't read any of his stuff, I highly recommend that you do. His books are short. He was known for his short books. And he was basically a national treasure. Along with John Irving. John Irving is my favorite author of the 20th century, American author of the 20th century. John Irving is fantastic. Little Kangaroo says, I'm not sure if I should move to the Phils, Thai, Vietnam, or Nepal. Go check out all places. Check it all out. Travel light. Go. I'm traveling hopefully soon. First stop's going to be Vietnam, then Thailand. Like to hit up Bali. I got to wait till my significant other gets a passport. And we're going to do some traveling, man. Let's see. Katrina Kopp says, Ned, I have a wife and a 1-year-old son. I will need an SUV or pickup. I know these are expensive over there. I won't have cash to drop $1.5 million on a new Toyota truck. What should I do? I don't know. Get a used Wego. That's what I'm planning on doing. Get one of those little Toyota Wego clown cars or a Kia Picanto. Something that's not converted, something that's an original unit from the Philippines, and something that has been CASA maintained, that is maintained by the dealer. That means it got all its preventive maintenance, its oil changes, and all that stuff. Somebody just sold, on my last live stream, somebody just sold a white Wego. Guy up in Valencia. Matter of fact, that was Philippine expats. James says, I will be living in the mountains, far away from any city, no pollution, great people, but I am a country boy that will marry a Bukid girl. Okay, yeah, the problem with that is the internet and, brownouts and stuff, but the internet's the big one. But Elon Musk, they just launched their first series of 60 satellites in a constellation called Starlink, which is going to provide, hopefully, internet to everybody around the world. They're spending a lot of money doing this. I think it's going to be 4,000 satellites or 3,000 satellites they're going to be putting up in low Earth orbit to provide internet. And once that happens, I can live anywhere. Because right now, I'm basically stuck with, I need good internet for work. Guy Mullins, is San Miguel still cheap? Yep, cheap as chips. Depends on where you go. Some places it's like 30 pesos. Some places it's like 60 pesos. You go to a girly bar, it'll be like 200 pesos. Philippines expat says about Thailand is getting real strict with the retired guys living there. Yeah, I've also been hearing, there's been, over the past couple of years, there's been more and more guys coming from Thailand that were living in Thailand for like 10, 15 years. And then they say it's the cost of living, the visa problems, and just some backlash, and the way they can't really connect, and the language difficulties. Because even guys that have been there 10, 15 years, I'm like, do you know Thai? And they're like, very, very, very little. They can't follow a conversation because Thai is a tonal language like Vietnamese. It's very difficult to learn. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening to my babbling. Thank you to Wonder, Mr. C, and Wonder again for the super chat money. Appreciate that. I made $7, $9, $11. It's much appreciated. It will go to a good cause, me. And I might do another live stream tomorrow talking about somebody I met back in January, and we've been boyfriend, girlfriend since February, and I was very lucky to meet her, and I might tell you the story behind that, and because it's basically it's the old conservative courting with the, dealing with the family and all that stuff, getting permission to do that, and I'm very, 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 very happy. So anyways, till next time, be well. Thanks again for tuning in. This is Ned over My Philippine Dreams, and hopefully I'll send out those books to the 3 people who answered the Wasabi Peas trivia question. And everybody stay well, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Peace.